Back on Racing Owls we had, well, rivals. Cars that were so even with each other that up to this day people still don't know which was better. Cars like the Focus versus the Civic Type R. Cars like the Skyline R34 versus the Camaro Z28. Like the 12C versus the Viper. The Pagani Huayra versus basic human decency. And in this series we're gonna be trying to bring that back. Now in this series, obviously we're gonna be taking cars that are pretty even to each other and we're gonna be comparing them to see ultimately which one is better. So for the first episode, me and Edward have decided that I'm gonna take the D-Class Focus and he's gonna take the D-Class Civic Si, and obviously you really cannot figure out which car is better just by having one race. So we're gonna be having 3 races, one in the 939 lobby, one in the 957 lobby, and one maxed out. Now the pink slips will come in the next episode, but for today I'm just gonna give you guys the basic overview of the D-Class Ford Focus, and I will also be sharing my 939 and 957 lobby tunes. So yes, let's get into that. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do wanna see more content like this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. If you are feeling extra generous, you can also join the RGS club with the join button that is right next to the subscribe button if you wanna have a monthly membership. But let's check out the Focus. Alright, so here we are in my 939 Focus. I did make this tune myself, so you guys are more than welcome to use it. So let me show you guys how I tune this thing. So basically this is, obviously when it comes to lobby tuning, you wanna get the car as close to the maxed lobby rating as possible. So this thing is as high of a 939 car as it goes. I chose to not use NOS on this car because from what I've seen on other cars, it does make a lot more sense to not put the NOS on the car since it's not reversible, and it does give out better times. So also no conversions on this thing, so no turbo or supercharger. So let's go over that real quick. Weight reduction is maxed and tires are obviously the best ones possible. Now let's also go to the aero real quick because it does matter if you want to get the best time possible on this thing. So rear bumper is stock, as you guys can see. I have the stock rear bumper installed. Hood, also none of that. So I'm really not all that good at tuning, but you know, obviously me and Edward will both get these tunes, create these tunes, me for the Focus, him for the Civic, and we're gonna be pink slipping them against each other, in the 939, the 957, and the max lobby, and that will basically decide whether the Focus or the Civic is better. Now I do think the Focus is better for multiple reasons. For example, the first one is obviously it's a campaign car. It's way easier to get your hands on the maxed Focus than the maxed Civic. There's more people pink slipping them, and ultimately it's just, maxed one is definitely faster. So we're gonna have a very little problem beating him in the maxed lobby. That's my prediction anyway, but when it comes to lobby tuning, that's gonna be a little bit more interesting. But when it comes to my personal preference, I do believe that the Focus is better than the Civic Si on this game. So the release for this thing on the 939 lobby is a little bit different. So it does come on the mid-second light. Something like that. Not the best of RTs. But this thing, I don't think it's gonna be as quick as the Celicas, because Celicas do run mid 12.3s in the lobby, and this thing will do 12.3s still, but high ones. So I don't think this is a perfect tune, however, it is better than what you usually get on the Focuses in this lobby. So let's try and rerun that. I did get 12.3s before, so hopefully we get some more. So obviously try shifting as close to the wall as possible. You don't have to worry about the NOS button not activating because obviously you don't have NOS in this car. Crossed at 12.4 again, so it's gonna be a little bit interesting. But when I was doing practice runs, I did get a really high 12.3, so yeah. Like for the 939 lobby, I would still suggest a Celica over the Focus, that's for sure. But this thing, you know, can still be useful. There you go, this looks promising. We tapped the wall, god damn it. Well, I tried maxing out the gear as far as I could, but I don't really think it worked out. Still, I think we crossed the 12.3 with tapping the wall, so let's see what time this is gonna be. Yeah, a decent 12.4, but I really am wondering what the Civic is gonna run. So, I wanted to also do a no-NOS tune for the 957 lobby, however, this thing maxed without NOS is actually lower than 957, so for the 957 tune you will have to use NOS. So let's go over this tune real quick. It's not all that difficult to figure out, like obviously if you wanted to do a 939 tune for this thing but you put NOS on it by mistake, it's still gonna do pretty decent in the 957 lobby. So I believe that this thing can do mid 10.6s, which from what I've heard is actually quite decent. I don't know what the other tier 1 cars run in this lobby, but I don't think it's gonna be much better than this. I guess we're gonna figure out. So NOS core is on stage 1. I think that's decent enough, but obviously I do have my own way of tuning. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I'm still pretty proud of what I've come up with. So there we go. Let's also check out the aero parts. This thing does actually have some aero parts on it, so there we go. Hood is also on the car, spoiler as well, and suspension is stage 2. I don't think the suspension makes a whole lot of difference, but I do prefer my car to look lower, so that's what I went with. Now this thing still drives a little bit different than the maxed version, so you will have to release still a bit later than you would on the maxed version, but the shifts are nicer. So let's go ahead and demonstrate. Short shifted that. I was able to get pretty decent RTs with the 939 car, but this one I'm actually struggling with the RTs, even on the practice runs. So let's see. That was a low 10.7, so this car can definitely go into 10.6. From what I've seen, like the best time I did was like 10.670. So I think that's kind of competitive, I believe. There you go. We still short shifted the first gear, but not by too much, so we're gonna see if this is gonna make us go into the 10.6. We did cross it at 10.6. So let's see the time now. Yeah, that was much better, but I believe this thing can do better. So the reason why I decided to pick the Focus instead of the Civic is pretty easy. This was the first car I ever pink slip. Well, not this particular one, but I went into the whole pink slips thing with the Focus. It is a really good car to pink slip. It's one of the easiest maxed cars to drive in the whole game, and really, odds are that whenever you're looking for pink slips, you will find some with the Focus. Now, there are obviously some other tier 1 cars pink slipping about as well, but with the Focus, well, you basically have the biggest chance of finding pinks, since this is the quickest campaign car. It is quicker than the Jetta and the Celica maxed out, and it's really a blast to drive. Like, I cannot praise this thing enough. Now obviously it's not the fastest tier 1 car, that would be either the Eclipse or the Cobalt, but this thing is just, it really is a great car, and I would prefer this thing over the Civic any day of the week. However, we still have lobby tunes to check out in the next video for the Civic, so make sure to check out you know, obviously the Civic review on Edward's channel. But let's hop into the lobby. This thing once again drives a bit different than the other two tunes. Basically you release as soon as the second light comes on. You can get really consistent with this thing, and the shifts are once again as close to the wall as possible. Let's go. And before I mess this one up, well, we did clap the fucking limiter there, but shouldn't matter too much. So if you're really amazing with this car, you can get down to potential 9.7s. However, I think I did like easily over 100 runs in the Focus so far, and I was not able to get a 9.7 after all this time. So it really is a rare time, but what you're really aiming for pink slips are really times below 9,850. So let's have this thing again. I'm pretty confident, like I said, in the focus, but I am curious how this is gonna turn out. Messed up a bit as well. Once again, not an ideal RT, but you know, it's not always like that anyway, so crossed at 9.8 still. I'm kind of rusty with the focus. I did obviously have a few practice runs trying to you know, get a perfect run, but yeah, there you go. Alright, I guess we can might as well WRX. Sure, our thing's gonna kick our ass, but we can still go for it. Touched the limiter on the first gear there. There we go, crossed at 9.8. So the focus is really consistent. Like, you should, if you're at least kind of familiar with the drop launch, you should not have any issue running this thing. So basically, how do I think tomorrow's video is gonna go? Well, I mean, yeah, let's just cut to the clip. Come on, yes! Yes! Fuck you, Civic! Fuck you! So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support this series, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. My name's Jerry, and I'll see you in the next episode of Rush Racing 2 Rivals. Wow, that's a fucking odd video series idea. Oh well.